Okay, we're live. Hi, Wauconda for Wauconda. This is going to be our inaugural live feed of the village. Oh, there we are.
That's all right.
So, hi, Wauconda for Wauconda. It's me, Miss Irene. This is going to be our inaugural live broadcast of the village board meeting. We'll see who I can see on this little camera. Oh, yep, there's Terry. There's Lincoln. There's Linda. So we'll hope that they all speak up tonight, and we'll hope that they speak into their microphones so that everyone can hear the answers to all of our important questions and to all of their important business. I'm not going to stand here and entertain you, but you are tuned in live now to the YouTube channel for Wauconda for Wauconda. We're tuned in. We're live. Oh no. Yeah. I can't.
No, couldn't do the home stuff. It's just there now that I'm inside the and obviously going over the north and down.
Yeah, I hear you. You know what? It's come out of after every meeting going out. After every meeting.
You don't know. I mean, what I was there, then I go home.
Oh, you always did. You had a meeting. I always had a meeting in water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell that packed on the pounds.
Oh,
Yeah, how about that? Here's Mr. Brad Fink, our, yep.
Who is that?
Brad Fink. Oh, and look at, there's Ken Arnswell. He's waving at you. We're live on this is the Wauconda for Wauconda YouTube channel.
Hey.
And we're live streaming.
October, no complaining.
We're live streaming.
Oh, we are?
Yes, you're already live. Also, not only are you live, it tapes as it does this, so it will be
Who's the
saved
lead?
on our channel.
No complaining in October, so let's fix it now.
Yeah, right?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, make sure you guys speak in your mics tonight.
Mine is Bill.
If you move it closer, it'll be okay.
Yeah. Oh. So I'll do yours.
Send all complaints to Bill Rickard.
Oh yeah, in fact, this was all filled up. There you go. We're live. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't too hard. I think if it all works, because I did a trial run at home, good. If it picks up the sound okay, that'll be the main question. Nail polish girl sent a complaint. Oops, what? Doesn't answer to my question.
I saw it.
Oh, maybe I gotta.
Down here, but
That person says,
yeah.
are those spots open? I need to go to the nail polish girl right now, so I want to park. I don't like it. So.
I was lucky from the figuration.
I pulled up where I always pull up in there. I don't know, but
Okay. Very good. I'm sure I was in the gym and they left the pull in there.
oh yeah.
And I went from 3.0 pace and they left the pull for 4 spots.
Right.
I don't even know what.
There's a few.
There was.
I'm gonna say did. No. Yep. That?
I didn't mean it like that. Streaming live.
We're streaming live. Can you see it live? Can you do it on? See if you can get it live on our, because people can comment as they watch. So see if you can get it on your phone.
On Wauconda?
How do you do it? Go to YouTube and go to our channel, our Wauconda.
Oh,
How are you?
Not so bad.
Good, good.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
you got it?
Yes.
Right.
We're taking you guys to the next level.
I mean,
Yeah. Okay. I hope so. Thank you. Nice. So I have it on like a 15 second delay. Just so that it doesn't get messed up. Nice. Hi, we're live. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to recognize the new queens for the Wauconda area pageant. So, turn it over to the queens. Here's ladies.
Okay, like you said, we are the new 2014 Wauconda area queens, and we are so honored and looking forward to a great year of representing Wauconda. My name is Tyler Sprout. I am 19 years old, and I'm the Wauconda area Miss. I am currently a sophomore at Washington University, and we really just wanted to thank the village for their continuous support and sponsorship. We really appreciate it, and it means so much to our girls. And because of your continuous support, we were actually able to provide scholarships to all the previous queens. And so, thank you so much for your support. Okay. Hi, I'm Bailey Ray, Wauconda area Miss. I'm so grateful to be found
I'm very passionate. Wauconda area Board Meeting, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm going to take this picture from this picture.
Thank you guys so much for having us here today.
Right in the center. If you want to have everybody like.
Yeah, that's,
When
yeah.
this come down, we'll get like a hand. We'll get the
Yeah.
stuff up.
All right.
We'll stand behind it. Come on, guys. You guys did great. Gone.
No, he was
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that I'm not leaving anybody out
very
there.
shy.
Well, it's good looking fine.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you again. Great. Okay, roll call please.
Trustee Knight?
Here.
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 Public comment. We have a comment, just please stand, state your name and your address.
I have a comment. I'm Irene Ducharme. First of all, I want to thank you all for appearing live now on the Of Wauconda for Wauconda YouTube channel. We are streaming you live. My first question tonight, which is especially appropriate after we had all these beautiful young ladies up here, why has there been no mention of the missing girl from Wauconda on any village websites or newsletters or mayor's messages? She's been missing since last Monday. She's 14 years old, or maybe just turned 15, and she's left town, possibly as a runaway, possibly under duress with a boy who's 25 years old. Why no mention? Please have put up posters. Why you no mention? Thank you.
I'll have the police chief,
My question is to the mayor. Go ahead, Mayor.
and as the chairman, I will direct the meeting and the answer can come from the police chief. Chief, if you'd like to address that, please.
Been a lot of talk about this. First and foremost, does not qualify.
I know it's not an Amber Alert.
Second, you would not normally issue cases. Do so at the request of the criminal. And we have put in about 200 men hours.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief. We know that you guys are working hard. We know you guys are working so hard, and we've heard that. I'm wondering why it hasn't made. We're wondering why it hasn't made the mayor's
You have to
message.
keep order, ma'am. Now, the police chief is in the process of answering your question. You have to let him finish.
Okay, Mayor.
Because she is a juvenile, we can only really parents will allow it.
Right.
So that means accounts for why the name is more likely.
Okay, they've requested us to promote it, so I'm wondering why she. Is there? You can answer since he doesn't want to. Why do you think the mayor hasn't put it in his mayor's message?
That's, again, chief, I'll handle this.
Okay.
So the police department handles all issues like this, and when the police department brings it to my attention that it's a matter for me to handle, then I will. If that is not the case, that's why I handle it. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, that's procedure and management, really strict.
Right, okay.
Okay. Yes, sir? Yes, ma'am?
Maria White, 5553 West Wilson. I just again want to ask, since 2 weeks have gone by again about 911 and when this is going to come to fruition and either get off the back burner. I mean, it's just, I've heard personally by police officers and dispatchers that they're losing people, quality people, because they are in limbo. And this is almost, I have to say, it's your project. It was something you wanted to have looked at in June of last year. It's setting it up for failure. I'm going to be in the process of sending a FOI out for overtime to see how we're stressing these people out in an already stressful job. So, I mean, if you aren't going to do something, I'd like to ask the trustees to please, let's get this done and be done with it. We're waiting for reports. What are we waiting on? I'd like somebody to have it done. It's just not fair. And you're actually hurting our town. You're hurting our town. Keeping it safe. My
So,
other,
to answer that question, then, this is the board decision, obviously, and the 911 center is a long-term type of an issue to address, so you have to make sure that you have the ability to make your decisions. And that's something that the board's been very clear on in the past. We felt like that really needs to be the case with each one of these issues. We've discussed this, the staff's still working on this, and as soon as they're done with that, then we'll bring it to the board for a vote. So that's how it's going to be handled. There is no shortcut to that. Obviously, there's an incentive because, if the board decides to act on this, then it would be a significant savings to the village per month. So every month that goes by is roughly another $40,000 to spend on it. Right now, we have a contract. And so the contract is existing, it's going to stay, and if we stay with the 911 center, then we stay with the 911 center, and that'll be additional expense to the village. So there's pros and cons to everything. The board's going to decide that when the date is presented by the staff.
okay, when is that going to happen? Or when does the board decide this is not the time to do it?
So again, they would have acted already if they thought this was the time to do it. And right now, we're waiting until the staff finishes. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to that, Doug?
No, we're trying to wrap it up and then we'll bring it back as soon as it's ready.
I have something I'd like to add to that, actually. I have asked Administrator Maxiner to bring it forth to the board in September. Hopefully, I asked for the September 2nd meeting because I will be gone the second one. And, I think it has dragged on too long, and I think we should make a decision publicly. So that's my 2 cents on this. And I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
I agree. We have been discussing this in closed session, and this is something that we have on the docket yet.
Another thing, I know you added your question and answer with people. I did send an email. I'm sure you've been bombarded with emails or I haven't gotten to send this. What do you have typical office hours for approach development for residents? This is just some questions coming to me. Do you have standard days that you're here in case you want to second?
Yeah, so for all the elected officials, it's a part-time job. And so all the office hours are by appointment. People want to leave and they just have to leave.
Okay, so that's not. Okay. And then,
Actually, it's not, no, it's by appointment.
okay, but you don't have standard office hours when you're here
Yeah.
where somebody can just stop it, is what I asked, yeah, okay. And then secondly, what, consortiums or like organizations you regularly attend on behalf, as our ambassador of Wauconda, you regularly attend to keep us in the loop on things? I know the 53-120, I think Doug Maxner has been attending those perhaps. So what are you involved in on behalf of our town as far as organizations that you're instrumental in?
Yeah, and that's actually one of the fun parts of the job, going to all these different meetings. And so, we go to as many of them as you can. The ones that you can't make, then obviously Doug covers for me. So some, it depends on what's been invited to. There's a whole variety of social ones to go to. So one example, this Saturday, 5 different events. So it just depends on what the week is, what we're going through.
So there's nothing, there's not a regular professional, like mayoral type thing that you attend regularly. I know this is the way you have to list it, but I'd like to just know something we're involved in to keep our town in the forefront of other, towns, having us have a relationship with other towns.
Yeah, so we am actually, aside from formal meetings, because we have formal meetings that we go to for the Illinois Municipal League and also the county municipal league and so forth. Aside from those type of meetings, and also you mentioned some of the 53 and 120 meetings. Aside from those, there are the informal ones as well. So that's where we get together. We get together monthly with all the different mayors in the area.
And you're in attendance?
Absolutely.
And then my last thing was I sent that 911, 9/11 theme thing. I sent a response about that. I'm a little concerned just because it appears just in the article that people weren't consulted. The park district, it's kind of, it seems just again from the article that they didn't even know it was at their memorial park, which I think is beautiful as it is. My biggest concern is Waukegan, Zion has that at their facility, probably for Waukegan. I'm guessing that, are we stepping now on Waukegan's toes by putting our hat in the ring? Have you talked with the mayor of Waukegan and see how far they were to have possession of that?
Yeah, no, actually the people that organized the Heroes of Freedom Memorial contacted me. And so as soon as they contacted me, I contacted our board to let them know that this was an opportunity. The paragraph that they wrote for the mayor's message, which is what you're referring to there, they actually wrote that article, and I posted it in the mayor's message. So this is the organizers of the group called the Heroes of Freedom Memorial Foundation. And that group is who owns the artifact, which is the beam, which we're trying to get 50,000 beam from the. They contacted me. They said that this was their desire. I talked about putting it by the fire department, or rather the police department, because that's adjacent to the park. But I also called at the same time I talked to our board. I left a message for Nancy, who's the director of the park district, to say, hey, let's look at this collectively because we can make a really nice display here. So let's look at it and see. So it's an opportunity that we intend to capitalize on, and there's a good group of folks now we've solicited and have gained the commitment from all the different groups to sit on the committee, for all of our social groups in town, all of our service groups in town, to be part of that so that we can come up with a nice couple of options for that.
I'm just saying it was a little premature to have any national mayor's message, but it almost looks like it was happening, and it was kind of a one-man thing, at least from the park district perspective in the article. So I'm just wondering if we can start having maybe a committee first and talking about it in meetings before it goes live.
Yeah, read it again, and I think you'll find it's a solicitation for folks to be part of the community. So, and actually, this is an example of that. I got a really, really cool input from one of the people in town who, their family went to the 9/11 memorial in New York, and they brought back acorns from the oak trees that are planted there. And then they planted those in Wauconda and grew the oak trees here in Wauconda. So that's really cool that they want to donate those trees to this memorial. So wouldn't have had that if I didn't put out the solicitation to folks to get involved in this. And also I want to get the folks that are most interested involved in this, which is what we've got. So several folks have reached out to me via email to say, hey, I want to be part of this. And those are the people that are on the committee. That's on purpose. So, first they put out the solicitation and say, hey, this is an opportunity for us. Let's try to capitalize on it together, and we'll make it something really nice for everyone.
Okay, and then is that going to be even when you open the public? Sure. I'm sure that'll be enough.
It will.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kelly Carter, 7-Eleven Grand. To Mayor Bart, just wanted to dispel some rumors that have been going around, and just wondering if you could answer a yes or no question regarding the 911 dispatch center. Have you told any residents that the dispatch center is going to be outsourced?
No, that's a board decision and it hasn't been made yet.
Okay, have you also mentioned to anybody that the response time will not change and not to worry about it?
I haven't discussed any of those kind of details.
With a resident, with any residents?
There's no need to discuss any of those details.
Okay, and then my last thing would be, there's a lot of people, because it's such a hot button topic, there's been a lot of people that have wanted to possibly start petitions on this. Have you directed to any residents not to sign the petition, that they don't need to, because nothing has changed?
No, and I wasn't aware that there was a petition.
No, I'm not saying there is one, I'm saying if there was one to sign, but not to sign it because
it's going away no matter what, and the response times will not change, so not to worry about it.
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about. No, no change, I don't know that.
Okay. All right, then the other thing is I know this is maybe old news to some of you guys, for me bringing this back up again, but I haven't seen you in 5 weeks. Back to water and sewer, in which we had a discussion about misallocation of funds. I've had many conversations with people in the village hall, in which they directed to me that it's basically a reallocation of funds, not a misallocation of funds. And you and I went round and round about using that word. To me, that word means, in a political sense, that there's wrongdoing. And I asked you not to use that word, and you said it was a textbook word that the people that did the audit used, and that you're just using their words. I FOIA'd the information regarding that, and there's no indication whatsoever that those words were ever used.
Okay, I'll clarify that for you, because in this very room, in November, when we did the updates, and Dan Helgerson was the one doing the presentation, just to clarify the intent of the word too. His very comment, which is on the audio tapes, and you can hear it clear as day. We have uncovered this, which is current. Uncovered, quote unquote. So you don't uncover something that's not wrong. So the second thing I'll say along those lines, and this is also for clarification, this is an enterprise fund. The water sewer fund is an enterprise fund. So by allocating expenses to a fund that is an enterprise fund, you in effect tax people by way of their water bill, which subverts the tax laws, which limit what municipalities who are not home rule can tax people. So that's the effect that it had. There was no question on either of these two members that were the two interim finance directors on what needed to happen with it. And furthermore, when we had the discussions with the board didn't have any questions about fixing it, right? The board knew that this needed to be fixed, and they fixed it.
I'm not at all, in any way, shape, or form, saying that the way people do, the way administrations do anything is different. How you perceive one thing is not how somebody else perceives something. I've had conversations with village members here. I absolutely agree. If you think it belongs somewhere else, great. But it's all still in the same pot. And you're trying to say that something's wrong.
I'll clarify this further than to give you one specific detail. The salary and benefits for the economic development director do not belong in the water sewer fund. They were charged for the water sewer fund. Like I said, that's taxing people by way of their water bill. That's the facts of the matter. I can go on. There's a list of other things that are crystal clear. The entire IT budget.
Okay, so you stand by.
Excuse me,
but I don't
I'm
need to
answering
hear
the
this whole
question. You
thing,
must be ordered. So the entire IT budget for the entire village, was assigned to the water sewer fund. Again, that's not correct. There's no question about that. It's not a matter of someone's opinion of where expenses should or should not go. This was clearly misallocation, which is the word that the finance folks use.
Okay, so you're going to stand by the fact
Absolutely.
that there was wrongdoing.
I'm not going to say that there is any criminal act. I'm saying that clearly it is a fund. It is an enterprise fund, and there's clear rules on what can and can't be done with those funds, and it was not handled appropriately. So, Rudy, do you have any comments on this?
Well, the enterprise fund concept is correct. You have to go to the fund itself.
Correct.
Then it's correct. The only thing outside of those funds, Phillips did precisely what you have to do, is to just rebalance the book.
Right.
Again, without making passing judgment on wrongdoing.
Exactly.
It's now a very accurate and very clear picture of how the water and sewer fund operates. And that's really the goal. It should be the goal for anyone.
Absolutely.
Right. And so
Don't fall back to one bit.
Everybody can be
Right.
everybody's perfect.
You're right. Nobody is perfect. I appreciate you saying that.
Well,
So I voted on that.
Okay. Sure.
So I'm Andrew Mansell from Frank's Karma Cafe in downtown Wauconda. We've been here for 8 years. I'm here to talk about the parking lot project. This week alone, we have 3 events that are taking around the parking lot or the street. Saturday, the municipal parking lot is closed essentially all day. Today, we've got Main Street closed, and Thursday, Main Street will be closed again for the parking lot. Specifically referring to the parking lot closure on Saturday and the special event permit that goes along with that, there are 3 main issues. The first is the procedural issue, procedural problem. The second is substantive, and the third is a long-term issue. The procedural aspects of the special event permits, as they are written now, as my understanding, the merchants who are negatively affected by the special event, by any closures, are not given notice. We are not given a chance to object to the permit, and we are not made, no accommodation is made for us. The only reason I knew that the parking lot was going to be closed all day on Saturday was because I saw a sign on Friday. I assumed it was a 6 o'clock event on Saturday evening. They would need at most 4 hours to close the parking lot. Yet the parking lot was closed essentially all day. There will be an argument made that part of it was open, but that was not made known to me. It was closed all day. There was, at best, 2 hours worth of setup for that event on Saturday night. Okay. Yet when I came over to the village to ask for an understanding of when it was going to be closed, I was given a vague answer. I was told that there was going to be a temp for 6 hours for that. Other than that, I was referred to one of the trustees' work, who very politely and professionally responded to me. Yes, the parking lot was still closed all day Saturday, and I had no notice. I had no chance to contest it, and there was no accommodation for the rest of the business night. So that's the procedure. The ordinance as it's written is fundamentally flawed in that respect. All of the other than the 2 participants who participated in the event, all of the other Main Street businesses were open all day on Saturday. So that's substantively. No 2 businesses or 3 businesses or 4 businesses and 10 businesses should take away the municipal parking lot that is for everyone. We're all here. We're all paying our taxes, everyone. That parking lot should be for everyone. Whether you want to call it a private event or an event that's sponsored by the Lions Club, that's up to the game. It is for everybody. And just please understand, Steve Brooke and I are very close friends. Okay. Third, you're creating an environment that is hostile to business when you close it. We opened at 11 o'clock. Before we even opened, there were signs up that said that there was no parking on Main Street from 3 to 9. It doesn't matter that it started from 3 to 9. You're telling people early in the day that Main Street is closed. You are creating an environment that is hostile for us to do. Whenever you close streets, you close parking. The same with the farmers market. I had customers who say, I'm not going to come on Thursday because the parking wasn't parked. I've got to drive around Main Street, parking is tight. I'm just not going to come on. Okay. The long-term effect of these street closures, and you can do a study if you want. You can go back and play with the outcome. It's not good for the majority of the world. If you want confirmation of that, go to the 2 remaining businesses in Long and ask them how it works. They have the festival. They're always working through. They've got nothing else. We work very hard to build our community in this community. Okay? And we're doing a damn good job of it. I do not want my customers to be interfered with. I do not want them being inconvenienced by street closures.
I appreciate you doing business in Wauconda. I would very much appreciate that. I know that several of you have worked on this. Do you want to, you're closer to this item than I am, do you want to comment on any of the jobs, Brad, or Trustee Burke?
I'll just say that it's difficult to argue against anything you just said. There are some issues that we need to discuss and come up with a better way of doing business, and hopefully we can get them.
I will tell you that the organizers of tonight's event probably look at it as a success. I think that most of the merchants on Main Street would look at tonight as a disaster. I bet if you went up and down Main Street and asked merchants how they were doing earlier when the street started being closed, they would probably agree with me. Business was not good. It was affected by it. If you want to do these things, that's fine. There are other venues. There's the park. There's the hike. There's Cook's Park. Have that. Please do not interfere.
No, I agree. I actually spoke to the
food on Saturday, so I think that we're going to together to try and help us see subjects that work and that will help for everybody.
I appreciate it.
So we'll refer that to the Economic Development Committee for some session. Okay. And just so you know, I know that on the way in this evening, I did talk to Director King about the time for the closure, and it was practical in nature that the streets department closed it before the 1 o'clock, just 1 o'clock, right? I think because otherwise the parking lot would be full of cars. So that's why they closed it early. It was pragmatic, because otherwise it would block the
You talked about the municipal block.
Okay, I know that's why it happened. That's why it happened the way it happened. Other than that, I can't really offer a whole lot of insight.
But again, the event started at 6. The setup, based on what I've seen, and I've set up for many farmers markets, is less than 2 hours when it's set up. But I've been closed to 10. You know, if you're an equitable society, when someone wants to change the status quo, it's they who should be the leader. If the parties wanted to close, and I'm not agreeing that the closure of the lot was the proper thing to do. If there are parties who want to close the lot, it should be their duty to monitor the lot, starting at 1 or 2 o'clock, and tell people, you've got to be out of here by 2, you've got to be out of here by 3. And if they're not, it should be their responsibility. They should be the intervening parties to get those cars out of here, not the rest.
Thank you. Okay, others? Yes, sir.
Jack Gurney, 2549 Blue Water. I got 2 things. Thank you, Public Works, for removing all the ash trees that were devastating your neighborhood. That was not enough. My other comment is, sent all the trustees an email in regards to Oakwood Hills power plant that they want to be installing at this point. I know Perry, Prairie Grove, Crystal Lake are all having meetings tonight to disclose the trustees in support of not supporting this power plant, 185-foot stack, 80% use of the time, 1.5 million gallons of water a day. They use gray water. That plume would be going towards this way, especially in part of Wauconda. I was wondering if the trustees would be able to put some sort of non-binding referendum together showing support with the other local communities, saying we don't support this power plant to be put in Oakwood Hills like the other communities that are in McHenry County, since it's 5 miles away as the crow flies.
This is a coal-fired plant or gas?
It's a gas-fired plant, but they're still worried about the particular matter of measurements in McHenry County. There's great sources on the Herald and Northwest Herald about this, and I think it's something that we should be supporting our local communities about, since it's really going to be somewhat impacting the town of Wauconda. So I'd like to see the trustees' support on this.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, everybody. I just wanted to thank everybody again. I'm sorry, Dirk Leahy, 2616 Waterloo. I just want to thank Trustee Starkey and Trustee Burke for bringing up the 911 center as well and trying to put that on the ballot. I would like to bring to Doug's attention, however, that he said that it would be ready when it was ready. I specifically came to you guys twice now, and this was originally brought up as soon as February that we went under all that you guys have been doing for a long time now. This has been going on for at least probably a year. Doug, I came back here in June, in the middle of June, and you said that you didn't have the information that you waited and you delayed a couple weeks. I came back in July. You said the same thing would be delayed a couple weeks. It is now almost 2 months later, and we still don't have an answer. And I don't understand what the data is that we're waiting for to get this done. Also, the trustees, I've been really frustrated with the process for this, and especially as Maria has said, those workers have been, we can't lose these workers. If we lose these workers, I mean, I have a feeling this committee that you're just trying to resolve this, and you know that these people, without any kind of contract going forward, without any kind of security, they're going to not want to be there. And I have a feeling that you're purposely doing this.
I can assure you that's not the case.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. My concern here is with you guys is you guys are wanting to take this to account later. Okay, I have no problem if you guys are really serious about doing this because it's something that is really beneficial to the company. But why are we going to laser who is $40 million in debt, who is, as you mentioned, the home rule. Lake Zurich is putting the home rule on the ballot in November, have their residents vote to it, so the state, so the local politicians can vote to increase taxes because they don't have enough money to cover their debt. If they don't pass that referendum in Lake Zurich, what happens to the town? They're not going to have enough money to cover it, and they're going further and further down the tube. You guys really need to look at that. I'm sorry, but $40 million in debt, and us going to a town, we have a surplus. According to, we have a surplus here now. So why are we going to cut these services? If we are in dire need, we shouldn't be cutting these services. We shouldn't be looking at. I would also like to point out to you guys as trustees that you guys have an obligation. Now, I don't know who was here back in 2011. I've only been here about 4 or 5 years. I know you guys weren't all part of that.
1 second, real quick.
Yeah.
I know you're going pretty quick here. I don't want to
Sorry.
lose this point.
Yeah.
We're not at a surplus, just so you know. But that'll be some of the discussion tonight, how we're refinancing some of our debt. I just didn't want that point to slip.
That's fine. That's fine. But what I want to bring to you guys' attention as well is we voted back in 2011, whether you say it was administration or not, that was on the 911 center. It was clearly on the bill that everybody had said. It clearly said if you voted for this referendum, 911 center would stay in house. We have 72% of the people saying that they wanted that in. This was a town decision that 72% of the people wanted this in house. That was passed. And they upgraded it. Like Chief Parsons said, that the huge advantages of keeping it in house was the fact that they would move all the statuses down the basement. They would be secure. All the workers, all the 911 dispatchers would be secure in a secure place in case there was a natural disaster or event. They would be able to handle everything right from that. That is a huge advantage that others might not even have. They're in their protection facility. They don't. When they were up in the first floor, when they were in the main police department, they had to go downstairs, and then there was delays in setting off the 911, setting off the alarm system. Since moving that, they can just go from their station or hit flip and switch without having to be, and they're in a secure location on that. That is a huge advantage. And I'm sorry that you're saying that there's not a delay in the 911 center or dispatch. It has been proven that there's a delay, and especially if you lose and you even said yourself that if you lose the fire protection district because you can't get in contact with this, there is going to definitely be delays, and that's what everybody here needs to understand. If you don't go with the 911 center, if you don't go with the fire protection center, we're going in it on ourselves, and that was, I thought that you guys had said that was going to be guaranteed, that we would try to work and have a contract to go with fire protection wherever we decide to go. And
That is one of our criteria for evaluations, that we're going to make sure that we stay with fire protection districts if we switch. Otherwise, we're going to try to keep the fire protection district here if we opt to keep the center.
Okay.
So that is
Okay. I would like.
Do you have any comments that you wanted to offer in to try this those initiatives?
The study that we did really went for, we're waiting on some data from outside sources, and
You said that back in July.
I understand
Or
that.
June. You said that in June.
I can't force you to give me the
I
data.
understand that. I do understand. I'm not denying that. I'll give you
Okay,
that.
just to keep order here, this is not a debate, so ask Cooper. I always want to play speaker. Village Administrator Maxiner answer the question.
Well, I'm not prepared to get into an interrogation on it tonight. We've been through the financial components of that. We're working on the performance of the safety aspect of that, and that's ready to bring it back. It doesn't do any good to bring it back before it's ready. So we're trying to get all the information together so we can make a solid decision. That's what I intend to do.
Okay. So do you think that you send it by 16
Again, I'm waiting on some information from outside sources. I'm working on that, trying to get that fine tunes and all this stuff, and we'll get it when we can.
And please understand, I mean, with all due respect, I would like to get this done as well, but to be honest with you, I would not be comfortable with making a decision without having all the facts and the exact facts, and that's what Doug is working on. And that's what we're being taken as possible, that at least when the time comes and we get the facts, we know what we'll be deciding on. We'll have everything in front of us. Because obviously, see sides to it, anything. And if we don't look at both sides, we're not doing our job as trustees.
And just to reiterate this one comment, anything that I may have an influence on this, it's not the case, and I assure you that Doug is a professional, right? The village administrator, Max is a professional. We're a professional, right? They're not going to let us go too far afoot from the path that we're trying to do, and that's do the right thing for the community. So that's the facts of the matter, and I think you know what
I was just going to say that even as the trustees, I mean, last week I had words with Director Frank. I mean, we are involved. We are letting them know we're tired too. We need to get something going here. So we are looking for the answers as well. But as Trustee Black said, we need everything. we are putting a little pressure on as well, so.
I mean, my biggest concern here is that we go to Lake Earth and they don't have the services to support us. And that's what I want you guys to see, that they're cutting services left and right. They're having to put on gas at home roads just to have to raise taxes. If that's what you go through in November, how are they going to cover their services? I mean, they just keep going under and under in debt, further and further debt. They don't know how to handle their support system. We do. They should be coming to us. We should be the main point of that if we want to do that. If you want to outsource, go to a town that's got good debt, that's got a good budget. You know, we should be looked at in that aspect. That we need to have a solid foundation with a town that's got a good reputation, that's already all set. Not that Lake Shore doesn't have a good reputation, but their debt crisis is terrible. And you guys really, as a whole, really need to look at that, because once we're gone, and this is what all the people here need to understand, is once this 911 center is gone, it is out of the Waconda's hands. We have no say in once our contract, the first 5 years of that contract that they signed, once that is done, we have no say. It's all Lake Shore. If they can charge us what they want, they can put the contract up, and we have no say. That's what people understand, and that's what I want you to
You address the board when you're talking, but we have your point, and we'll definitely take your thoughts into consideration.
Thank you.
Yes.
Kelly Budzik, 711. I beg to differ with you saying that you didn't have any influence on what happens with the 911 center. You brought this up last June. This town has been suffering, and the workers have been suffering for well over a year now. I decided...
Just keep the focus. When I say that, is it on this decision?
I understand.
The village administrator is working diligently on this. There is no interference with that effort, and that is the solitary focus of that specific thing. There's no influence from the mayor on the...
There's influence on bringing it up. There's influence on you coming in, gangbusters, and deciding that you were going to blow everything up and turn this town upside down. And we've waited long enough, and so have the poor dispatchers. I put on my Facebook profile a picture of 911, and I said I would not take it down until this was resolved. That was 10 months ago. 10 months ago. And secondly, you did say, because it is on videotape, that the town was in the black. You did say that.
That's a difference. There's a difference between saying that we have a balanced budget and that we have...
No, you said we had a surplus. You said we had a surplus.
The difference between a surplus and debt is extreme. I mean, we have property, I think we have close to 20 million in debt, something like that. So there's a significant debt. There's probably a reference to that given calendar year. Other questions? Yes.
I'm Richie, 100 South people. In regards to the terms, reallocation, disallocation, appropriation, I thought it was bad word. As far as a corporation or a business.
Yeah, I'm again repeating what was told to me by
I'm
our...
making a judgment, even trying to stay touch. My point is it public information or is it available to the public to see some of that concern, what exactly happening, and how it's rectified? I think that's going to take away from a lot of the trust concerns that information.
Absolutely.
Those terms are very hurtful. Anytime, I mean, in my opinion, anytime that's used, then all of a sudden, we're getting stolen under that concept. And in most cases, in a corporation or a company or CNN business, those terms are bad.
So, and just to allay that concern, we do not have any theft involved in
Yeah, I'm not even insinuating that. I'm saying that those words, to someone like me, John to public, that's what it insinuates. So maybe we can put some sort of explanation out there again with the transparency stuff that's concerned with.
Okay.
And in the same token, back to the 911, Stanton Village administrator make the information or the data that he's waiting on, data that he's receiving public, if he can, that's his stuff.
Actually, so you know, the slides and everything where this was first presented back in November of last year is on our village website.
I'm talking about now because everybody's concerned is the wait. So
Why?
if the administrator can get that information or actually get the information he has, who he's waiting on. You know what I mean? You're going to appease, I think, a lot of the concern in regards that it might not be so easy because if they come in business week, they'll go home and watch the Simpsons. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to
talk for just a second again about the downtown parking with the street closures. Oh, I'm sorry, we are 108 North Main also.
Thank you.
And I wanted to say thank you to everyone for allocating some spots for me during the shows and whatnot. And thank you, Trustee Starkey, for reacting so quickly today to working out the confusion or the direction of traffic. I just wanted to let the board know that it still is kind of a work in progress with all these events going on. And it is disruptive somewhat to some of the businesses. So if you're going to put together a task force or a meeting, I'd like to be included to participate and help come up with some solutions.
Thank you. And actually with the crew signs, after each one, the committee, along with Public Works and the contractor that we work with, we get together, we assess what went well, what went bad, and at the end of the season, we're going to assess the whole thing, talk to the businesses. We've tried to talk to many of the businesses the last time to see, okay, was this Tuesday better than last Tuesday, or a typical Tuesday, to kind of try to gauge the sales and if it was a negative or a positive impact to the business. So we will do that. You know, the goal has been to bring new people and different people to our town so that they fall in love with the town. They shop here, they dine here, they're like, oh, I saw this cute place, and highlight our town, really. So the goal is not to, you know, turn away people from our town. So that has been the goals. We definitely want to work with the businesses.
Right.
That's why we're doing it. I mean, my shop is closed. We don't even attract any businesses. We're busy doing other things at that time. But we want it to be good for Wauconda.
Right. And I just wanted to make this like, this is a work in progress, and it's set up differently each week. It's confusing for people who are coming into the town because last time they could get in X way, this time that's closed. And I tell them where they can park, and then those lots are closed that I don't know they're closed. So it's when I'm by appointment and they're running considerably late, we can either accommodate them or they get frustrated and come to a complicated process. So.
Okay, we'll definitely talk to you and the other businesses to see, you know, A, if we continue this and how to better manage it. Because,
yeah,
and then the Lake Michigan water on Maple Street kind of threw a monkey wrench and everything as well. So that kind of messed up our route today as well. So,
right. So, but thank you for the help I've gotten so far.
Thanks.
Yes. Steve, the 263 trail site. No, okay. With the construction for the Lake Michigan water on Slocum, I know the road there, the one right by the middle school and grade school. Some of the intersections, I know they filled in where they dug out, but there's a lot, and there's a lot of stuff on top, stones that spread out. Is there anybody that, and I don't know if it's the Brad, they can go by and clean it up a little? I'm going through that one very carefully, but from a dead stop, you start to spin tires a little, and the stones get out to somebody behind you, and you've got a cracked windshield. Is there any way they can look at cleaning that up, if they're in fact done with filling it, they're just waiting to cover it and they can do it? I don't know.
Living right on Maple Street, they do a further authors doing a great job cleaning up as they're moving. There's somebody right behind them doing that.
Okay, I'm just saying down by the middle school with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is, like you said, is when people come up and take off or stop really quick, whatever, and that's what gets things back out.
Right.
And I know, like you said, I've been watching Burger King so close. I'm short of probably finishing the tables, they're done, and they could actually be tables. I'm not sure if they play anything to do with this.
That's fine, I'm just asking because I...
No, fair question.
Another one. I sent an email to all the trustees in there. I sent it to you individually as well. Rudy, I didn't have an email. It didn't pop up. It's saying it's concerning the website. And some updates are still not done, especially as it concerns the meeting calendar. And go to the drop-down menu, we have, of course, the meeting agendas and something else, and then there's the meeting calendar. The meeting calendar still shows meetings every Tuesday. Committee of the whole as well as regular. It's been that way for quite a while. I sent it to you too and asked about it, and I did get a reply back. And it was a positive one from one of the trustees. But it needs to be updated. And the meetings are supposed to, as I understand it from 2 different sections of the Open Meetings Act, that once you have it set, it's supposed to be posted either for the calendar year or the fiscal year, whatever the board decides to post on, which has not been done. and needs to be done. If it's not, I know it takes time, and I understand they're short to go to the fall, but it's been a couple months, and it needs to be done.
So I know you had some of these updates done already with contracts and so forth.
Calendar is definitely. We've got the administrative assistant's been on now for about a week. Today was her she started. She's been working with our contractor on the website, trying to most construction there, and we've gotten a lot of it there. The calendar issue, we took down what we thought was the whole meeting, notifications on the calendar, and everything on the calendar. So we've got some ongoing issues there. We've got to figure out how that database is interacting with the website. So we're getting to the bottom of it. It's just taking a little longer than
this is the same contract that we had before, right? So, I mean, we're working through these issues. This is the same exact contract we had before. None of that changed.
Okay.
So now we do have somebody managing our part of the one. Who's giving them data?
You have a full-time person handling, your system is working on that, right? That's good. Okay. But a couple months, especially, and not only that, but just the other thing, when people go to the website, they want to see something. That's the way to promote the common market. So I would hope that, and you're working through it, so that's fine. Are they going to be posting the meetings in the paper? Because I didn't see them in the paper. Then they be posted, Rudy, I believe, maybe we know. I believe the Open Meetings Act provides you have to post the meetings in the paper within so many days or hours.
No, you don't have to publish your meetings each week or every other week in the newspaper.
But
the change will have to be, yes, and that was my input when that question came up, that you're not compelled to hold the meetings that your calendar says are going to be held. You're not compelled to have them. Woe is you who would hold a meeting and not have it posted. So the simple solution was, at least I thought it was simple when I recommended it, to just take down the calendar for the committee of the whole. Now, how that works in the website, and that the village administrator explained, some technical, but the newly revised schedule will be published for the rest of the year. And I just don't recall whether it's fiscal year or calendar year. I think it's calendar year.
Yeah, I think it says either one, whichever they go by, fiscal or calendar. But then that way it's out there, it's up there in front, and you know months in advance.
As soon as that website issue is out there.
Thank you. One more question. We're going to talk about 911, but what departments can we say? I think Chief Yost might have been the one who was tasked with seeking out potential departments or towns to come to us if we keep 911. What towns were sought out?
I know we've had discussions on that. Do you want to just...
Doug, I don't know if that's available.
Both Chief Yost and I have had discussions with multiple departments.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I just have one more question.
Yes.
Directly 2615 Waterloo. Just one more question for you guys on the, as far as being brought back up with the parking and the street closures again as well. I know it's brought up a couple times, but, and I know they're great events when they're putting them on, especially the cruise like tonight, but I think you all and all of us would rather be there at the event than us being here. So I would think that we would rearrange it on a Tuesday if that's the only date that they can make that we would bring, since there are only 2 Tuesdays a month that you guys have the meetings. I know you have other committee meetings, but I would think that you would try and rearrange that to a Tuesday that's not the board meeting, because I personally would have loved to brought my family, and I know most of these probably would have as well too.
It's something we'll look at next year, and because of competing cruise nights, we chose those, and that was kind of before, we chose those dates with the committee before we went to the 2 meeting a month schedule. So it happened to fall on the same one because that's when the committee of the whole or the board meetings were posted. So we'll look at that for next year if we go forward with it next year. Because we're running around all afternoon and then coming to the meeting, so we're pretty.
We'd like to be out there too, but like Linda said, we made that decision based on other area cruise nights before we made the decision for every other Tuesday. But there is one of the things we'll be talking about when the season is over. Our next one is September. We'll start looking at next year and how to tweak it and improve it. Whatever we need to do to try to support that.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lake Michigan Water, I know Steve Schaefer, 2263 Trail Site. I know a lot, they've been updating a little bit with Lake Michigan Water, and there was, a couple months ago, he said maybe by August they'll have a potential vote to take us in, and lawyers are on vacation and whatnot. Can we get something now just to tell us where we stand? I mean, it's been bits and pieces.
Yes,
Concrete.
With Charles Burton met again today, and still moving forward. Again, it's a long-term project. This project's been being worked on for 7 years.
No, and
so, it's not going to end, and we're not going to just wrap it up. So as the data is available, again, kind of what Bill's Administrator Max Center said, as the information is available, as these things have come to fruition, then we'll make it known. But it has progressed, and we're close to some draft agreements.
Okay, because I just remember something led me, and maybe others, maybe not, that August, when the CLC job was to meet, there was a potential. But then they said with lawyers on vacation, people out of town, now it may not happen until September or October. I don't remember what the date was. So it's still moving forward. Linda, I don't know, positive feelings? Everything so far so good?
Yeah, there's some details we're working out, and we're not going to make August clearly, but we've been in good contact with CLC JAWA, and they're all fine. We've been attending their meetings as well, so.
Is it fair to say without, I mean, maybe you have, I don't know, is October something to look forward to? Is that a reasonable, because they meet every other month, right?
Right, but they said if they needed to, they could consider a special meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You have a question? Yes.
Really quick, and this is where it goes hand in hand with not having parking to get into the businesses. The only handicap parking we have is in the public lot, which is like a block away from most of the businesses. And really does no good for anybody that, can't walk that far or whatever. There's no parking on Main Street that's handicapped. And that doesn't seem like that's true to law or something. Really supposed to be X amount of water. So,
yeah, I think there's only one sign.
I think there is one.
On Main Street?
Front and side of the tech center.
Oh,
the chamber has a couple.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. But I didn't know how many. I just remember this is a unique one. That doesn't really address your issue. I realize.
Yeah.
But there's at least one that I know of.
Okay.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because I know the director for building zoning planning is looking at parking, so we can make sure that's one of the factors in this. Thank you. Yes.
Kelly Project 711. I find it interesting that you use 7 years for Lake County for Lake Michigan Water for your benefit. You should have thought about 7 years before you decided to blow up the whole program.
Okay.
It's not funny.
All right. Approval of the agenda. Chair will entertain a motion to approve consideration of the consent agenda by omnibus vote.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just got one clarification on the list of bills. Right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, as we were looking at the accounts payable, we noticed that the performance improvement bill was included with Karen Tony's garden center here. So if we could, I'd like to amend that to Karen Tony's garden center in Ministry bill for $597.71. And add performance savings to $1,700. It does not change the dollar.
No total change, just those two are combined under one account. Okay, so with noted corrections from Director Fink, Chair will entertain a motion to approve consideration of consent agenda by omnibus.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Knight?
Yes.
Trustee Starkey?
Yes.
Trustee Parsons?
Yes.
Trustee Black?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
A motion to approve items A through D on consent agenda.
A, bills for payment from 7/30/2014 to 8/12/2014 for $112,667.73. B, minutes of regular village board meeting
Second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Knight?
Yes.
Trustee Starkey?
Yes.
Trustee Aaron?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, full business, the approval of ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance of general obligations. Trustee, you want to lead on this?
I'd just like to introduce Kevin, Kenneth Spear Financial here. He's been handling the negotiated sale for us today, so he's got some information for you.
These are summaries of both sales, A and B. They're both, because these were both sold in 2006, so the A's and the B's. So they both had about the same maturity schedule. They both were 20-year bonds at the time. As part of the process, the bond rating was confirmed as a very strong AA2. The sale occurred yesterday and today. The bid is Variety Securities. In the administrator's memos to you, the savings are going to add up to an expected $420,000. The market is a little low point. The savings total $510,000. So I think everything went well. You don't need the rating. The rating report is in here in the last several pages. They say some very nice things about the village. Usually, first page, name, some at the bottom it talks about, it reflects the tax base in the northwest portion of Chicago, the above average demographic profile, relatively stable financial operations, maintenance of healthy reserves, and that's two things very important reserves. And they do talk about above average debt, but they know about the referendum, they know that the other debt is coming as this, and they're comfortable with the AA2 rating. So bonds will reach this is the bonds average, new bonds average 2.4%. They're replacing bonds that average 4%. So good savings all around. The savings is taken each year level. Some of these bonds are MFT, some are water and sewer. Are you pleased to answer any questions about it?
Questions from the board? Or comments from the board?
That's great news.
Very good. Yep. Thank you very much.
Then Rudy, if you'd like to just kind of run through what we're asking the board to approve.
Yes. You have in your packets a general form of bond ordinance, and it wasn't until this afternoon, right? This afternoon that the bonds were actually sold, and they could be what's called, Kevin type people call pricing, which gives you your annual debt service through the remaining term of the bonds. So those numbers that were gained from the sale of the bonds this afternoon are now embedded in the ordinance that's before you. And Kevin, you put in, and this is Series A. So you've got the schedules in Kevin's handout. So those numbers have now been put into the blank spaces in the draft of the ordinance that is in your packet. Nothing else in that ordinance has changed. So with these numbers in hand, with debt service schedules now fixed, it's ready for your consideration.
Just a quick question. The $510,000 savings over the course of 7 years, is that the term?
The bond cost is 2020. So
10 years. So roughly 50,000 a year.
Yeah, actually the schedules show it, sorry, this is 14, so it's really 12 years up. It's about $20-some thousand on water and 12 or 13,000 a year on the NFT.
This is bond in dollars. Any statistics? Per year.
If you look at the debt service,
That's the third page on each set of, you look at the third page with the savings in the far right column, and you can see the savings column. I would explain bond your dollars, but it's such a cancer. You don't want to know what about. They're very old information.
Okay, thank you. Are there, anything else? Doug?
No, we just need, both ordinances approved, right? Execute those.
We consider them one at a time.
Okay. Okay, the chair will have a motion for approval of ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance of general obligation refunding bond, alternate revenue source, series 2014A, for the purpose of refunding certain outstanding alternate bonds, prescribing the details of said bonds and providing for the imposition of taxes to pay for the same, and for the collection, segregation, and application of certain tax receipts to pay said bonds.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Knight?
Yes.
Trustee Markey? Excuse me, who's not here? Trustee Starkey?
Yes.
Trustee Arthur?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
And item B, approval of an ordinance authorizing and providing, and the chair will entertain a motion for approval of an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance of general obligation and refunding bonds, alternate revenue source, series 2014B, for the purpose of refunding certain outstanding waterworks and sewage alternate bonds, prescribing the details of said bonds and providing for the imposition of taxes to pay the same, and for the collection, segregation, and distribution of the waterworks and sewerage system operating by said village.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Discussion
Yeah. Both the A's and B's, I'm sorry, there's a little hectic today. B's got this is first, that's the first 2 pages, the A's are the next 2 pages.
Okay.
Well, I was looking after the B's.
Yeah,
For the,
sorry.
for the B's.
It's a little late, it's late there.
Okay, it's in there.
That was my fault, I brought it up, I didn't say
Yeah,
it.
that's okay.
All right, I know it is.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion and a second, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Series A is ordinance 27. Series B is 2014.
Okay, new business, discussion engineering service proposal for RHMG engineering, the street evaluation, rating studies, and this is the evaluation of Linda Page streets and so on, Brad.
Thank you, Mayor. Basically, staff feels that it's important to take a condition assessment of all the streets in town to help us formulate a long-term maintenance plan for the streets. So before you this evening, RHMG has prepared a proposal for the road evaluation and rating study. Basically, what they're going to do is evaluate every street in town, putting numerical values to them, condition-wise 0 to 100, and then we will use that year after year to evaluate what streets to do from year to throughout the next few years. So staff is recommending approval of the attached proposal from RHMG for the road evaluation and rating study for amount not to exceed $2,426.
Now, this has been a while since we started this process, but one thing that I think is worth mentioning, some of the members that I'm here as part of the discussion, Stan and Dave in particular, and finance directors, is that it helps us and helps the staff as far as our budgeting process goes to know when we're going to do what roads and how much that's going to each of, rather than doing these emergency $7 million for another $3 million, $4 million, whatever it's spent for a while. So this gives us a more even budget spend. It gives us more even rate of output from.
What's the part of this to be proactive for the road systems, get to the work now to save that for downline? That was the other path, right? One was to put in the order for it to need to be addressed, and others were to be proactive so they don't deteriorate to that point that's costing us 10 times, right? That's absolutely right. What Trustee Black was saying is we can, with this system in place, we can identify roads that are kind of on the cusp of complete failure, and it will cost us less money to catch those sooner than having to completely reconstruct those, further on down the road. So essentially, what costs us to save the village system.
Other discussion on this item?
it's a great plan, and I totally support it.
Agreed.
We can vote on this. Okay, Chair will make a motion then for the approval for the administration to, get a contract for engineering services proposal for HMG engineering for the streets evaluation and rating study in the amount not to exceed $19,136. Oh, yes. Yes.
Am I allowed to ask you?
Not technically, but if you want to ask a question, go ahead.
When you can that up.
Go ahead.
Okay, Allison Body is working trouble, but,
You know the rules better than I do.
I'm not 100% sure. I was just wondering, how long does the study project out for? Like, when do you have to have the thing done? Are they giving you like a 5-year evaluation, a 10-year evaluation?
Well, the evaluation is kind of a snapshot right now in time, and then based upon, depending upon, the different conditions of the road, you can kind of extrapolate when things will need to be repaired. I anticipate this lasting, 5 years, having maybe come back and renew it for 5 years.
A little bit further on that, we use the results of that study, program those road replacements in a 5-year spending plan. So probably at the end of that 5-year plan, we take a look at evaluating the road at the next point, update that from then forward.
Okay.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next is mayor's report. So I have, first, congratulations to our new queens, which are gone now, but it's nice to have been part of that. And the town area obviously benefits from those type of cultural events. Also, big congratulations to the FBLA team. They got off to a great start. Trustee Starkey and I were able to partake in that start kickoff meeting where the parents were part of that. So it was very nice to see them getting off to a good start. They were big-time national champs last year at multiple places there, so it's nice to see them get started. As you've heard tonight, we continue to work on our financial stability for the community, and it continues to improve, so that's a good thing for us. And it's very nice to hear that the estimates were low, and so we had over $500,000 in savings, which is a very nice thing for a project that we've been working on since it took office. So these things take time and come to fruition here. That's a good thing. And then we already mentioned that electricity and water's in the works still, and that those drafts are getting close, so that we'll have something to look at here in the next coming. Okay, committee reports and trustee comments.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, as you've heard, Trustee Starkey and myself have been meeting with the internal planning team for Lake Michigan Water. We are still attending meetings with CLC Jowl, which there's another one next week. So we're working on it and moving forward. 2 weeks ago, I did ask staff about, we talked about economic development and the look of the town, and a couple of lots on 176 with tall grass, and I just like to thank staff for getting that handled. It looks much better up there, so thank you very much. Tomorrow night, we will be having a police committee meeting here in the boardroom at 5:30. It will be 2 topics on the agenda, are the Marine Unit and safety on the lake, and also looking at the possibility of towing contracts. And that is all I have right now.
Okay, thank you. Any word on the race?
Oh, Texas. We took third place, Western Michigan. Third place. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
In front of you is a little thank you gift from the Cruise Night Committee for all the board members in appreciation for closing the road. And like I had said earlier, we will be assessing the whole process after each event, but also in the season to see how we can better serve the residents and the businesses. We did enter into an agreement for this event with Transfiguration, and so we had the use of their lot for spectator parking, just to try to ease some of the parking burden on the street. But we'll see how that all turns out. There were 185 cars that checked in tonight, so that was over twice the number of cars that were there last time. And again, we hope the purpose of this is to benefit the businesses and to attract people to our town. Communications, I'll again start with the positive. I've got the Facebook data. As you know, we've added some people to be adding little informational pieces on Facebook and to try to increase the page likes, the reach, and the engagement. And things like the cruise night, Lake Michigan Water seem to be very popular items. So our readership is up and engagement is more where people are either clicking on the link or sharing it and things like that. So I think, you know, the goal is to be more positive and proactive in our communication. The website, you know, I agree with Mr. Schaefer. It needs some updates. I've talked to the administrator about getting those done as quick as possible. And, you know, perhaps something we might consider, Doug, would be if the calendar is wrong, maybe we can make it not visible to people so that at least it's not erroneous. So it's just not there. That would be better than having it be wrong, I think. But I'll leave that up to the website coordinator on that. Our next committee meeting is Tuesday, August 26th, so next Tuesday at 5:30 in the Village Hall here. And then the only other thing that I have is the Mayor's Awards, the committee. Do you have those names?
I do.
Okay, so maybe after the meeting we can discuss that so we can arrange a meeting because we did get quite a few nominations for the Mayor's Community Service Award, and I'm sure there'll be some fine recipients chosen from that fine group. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Did have a licensed admin tonight. Went very well. Thanks to Tim, Chief Dato, and Division Chief. We did cover fire prevention tonight. Did go very well. A lot of changes. We're going to continue on that on our next meeting, which is September 16th. Public Works, we're going to have a committee meeting on September 9th. That's correct. And one thing, I will not be here, Mayor, the first meeting in September. I hope so. Congratulations to the girls. They all look great. And congratulations to Queen's mother. That's all I have.
Just a quick comment. The crew, especially night. I drove through town today, and some of those lots that we talked about look so different, look so much better, and so nice. Whoever was behind that, thank you. It was totally different. The whole facility is definitely. It's amazing that getting those tall weeds knocked down and getting the grass cut up front, going to change the place. Cruise night, I want to thank everybody for supporting, helping, volunteering, everything else, and especially what Carson said. We will be reevaluated. I mean, the whole purpose is to bring people into Wauconda. And I realize that we're clogging up the road for one night, but the theory or the hope is that we're bringing other people in the other 6 nights, the other 12 months of the year. So hopefully we can work together as a group and, you know, make it so that everyone's happier, not attempt to compromise as we're moving forward with that. And lastly, let's see, I think the proper term is this Sunday from 1 to 4 is the grand opening of the newly renovated house. And I'd like y'all to come down. I know it's been an evening for a couple of places. There's been a lot of people who put in a lot of time and work to renovate that. I know every time we're out there working, people walk in, and when they're telling stories about how they walked by this place, ever since they've been grade school, it's never been on the inside of it. I don't know the whole history of it. I'm involved with them now. But I would tell you, if you have the chance, come on out on Sunday between 1 and 4. Nothing else, grab a piece of cake. Come on, hang out. It's not pizza, but it is great. And seriously, come out and take a look because we do this for work and are very proud of our efforts and love to share it. That's all that does. Thank you very much.
Real quick, just congratulations, girls. We had our first good friends at Wauconda Village. So that was good. Economic development, we're continuing to work with staff. I'm meeting with about every other week. We're looking at things such as updating the marketing brochure, getting a marketing plan together. There's a conference coming up that we're going to be attending, ICSC, working with like partners and inland to identify potential partners. So we are active. We are trying to get the list cleaned up and get some items prioritized to bring them back to committee. Once we do that, we've got another meeting this Friday. I'm hoping to have a better idea of projects.
Thank you. Frank. Or actually, let's try to do that.
Mayor, we've got a pretty full agenda session. I just passed it.
Good. Okay. Then, so I think a motion to move to closed session for the following three purposes: the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, with deliberations concerning forms schedule for one or more classes of employees, and litigation of employment action against, affecting, or on behalf of a particular public body has been filed and is pending before court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent. Second. Roll call.
Trustee Day?
Yes.
Trustee Starkey? Yes. Trustee
Yes.
Trustee Black?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we have any items for action?
Or B1, collective bargaining.
Okay, and there will be one item for action after closed session.
You can take for up to 8 hours. Can I leave this on running then? Because this will take for 8 hours. Can I leave it on to hear what the, will be safe in here? Well, if we leave it on for a while?
Just monitor it on your phone, and then come back when it is.
Let me just talk to our constituents here, our members. Hi, Wauconda, I just want to give you an FYI. They're going into executive session right now. There will be action on something afterwards on collective bargaining. Might be something we want to hear about. So I'm going to leave this running on this empty room while we're gone. We'll step out while they're in closed session, and we'll monitor with our phone from across the street. And when they come back into the room, we will be able to see what they've been working on. Thanks for tuning in, and you can always watch us on tape after the presentation. Thank you.
And it's fun because
I don't think so. I think they should leave the room.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to tell you last night. Just wanted to put that up there. That's all. I get to get going as we get through this, but I just wanted to share that.
And this one over here, I we're looking around the right way.
I'm not a voter right now.
What? I left for 20. When I was so important.
In here?
Yeah.
Did you?
I called them last week and asked if they found me. Of course, I don't know if they even knew where they were looking for it. But, you know, I figured if somebody's asking me something, they find it. Because I didn't, the battery wasn't working. I was sure I put it in my purse. That's the last time I saw it.
Well, anyway, this is the petition about 911. Now, talk to Deb about what's going on with this petition and Liberty.
Okay, let's see. This is the email that I sent Mayor on the 16th of August. And I even put on there, I am going to have a protest, an official protest with everything. And he denied it, so that means he didn't receive my email. Yeah.
You know, did our still go over there?
No. You mean when they spent time with them, they moved out of there or something?
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go across the street into Rusty, and this is gonna keep keeping.
You never called me back about your job.
What was you talking about?
This is something you said.
I thought your question was about something.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Knight?
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Chair, I'll have a motion to approve the agreement between the Illinois Council of Police and the Village of Wauconda, Illinois, for the service contract. Second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 I'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 You just missed the whole bulk of the meeting, Brad.
Oh.
I think it died. Whose computer is that anyway?
Good.